Okay, so you want to know how to make a proper like hard techno kick. Oh, we don't need that. Uh, Today I'm going to show you how to make a pretty easy hard techno kick. Well, I wouldn't say easy, but it's a hard techno kick. Uh, so we're gonna start out with making a rumble and then layering it with some hardcore slash gabber samples for the top end. So first we're going to start out with making a rumble. I'm gonna just use a pretty basic kick and we're gonna EQ the highs of this. We're looking for a kick that has a nice tail and doesn't have too much punch and something that sounds fat. Actually, the last one is perfect. I'm just gonna use some random samples just to give it sort of a real feeling. So this is not like any way pre-prepared. Yeah, we're actually gonna need an echo later on, so we're just gonna keep it in. I try to open the EQ. I'm gonna try and use as much Ableton effects as I can, but I'm gonna use a couple of VSTs. First, we're just gonna make a very simple rumble. We don't want too much rumble because it will interfere with other things. This might be a little unconventional how we're gonna do it, because you're gonna say, hey, it's clipping and this is doing that, this is doing that, but don't worry about it. It's all going to make sense once we add a Devastator. Okay, so we've set up a pretty basic sub kick already. I'm just gonna EQ. Don't worry about it clipping just yet, okay? That's all for later processing. You make sure the rumble is not taking up too many of the kick. So we're just gonna set it to something like that. Now you have a very simple rumble. We're gonna layer this with a primary kick. So I'm gonna use something I find on Splice. You want something that has just sounds a little bit chill. Doesn't have too much drive on it. I don't know if you can hear this, by the way. This is perfect. Something like that. As you can hear now, it's definitely clipping, but don't worry about that. This is going to be our like fat of the kick. So we're going to again EQ most of the highs out except for some like low mids. I'm not sure if you can even call that low mids anymore, but then we're just gonna fatten it with a medium curve. And we're going to set the bass down just a little bit, but we also have to set the output lower. So it's going to sound clean again. As you can clearly hear, it's clipping now, don't worry about that. Now I'm going to use convolution reverb, or convolution, I don't know. We're just gonna set this on here, set this down and turn the width down just a little bit. And we're going to tweak it how we like it. You want to avoid clipping. If it's clipping, just turn down the volume on the kick. Now that's good. Now I'm going to use the first plugin, LFO tool. I'm too lazy to really use panning or whatever, so we're just gonna do it like this. So we want it bouncy, but not too bouncy. Like this is too bouncy. This is bouncy. You kind of want to find the sweet spot, something like that. I'm actually gonna turn down my master signal just a little bit. That's perfect. Oh, not sure what that is. Okay, now that we have this, I'm actually going to turn up my EQ again for my headset because it sounds weird. Okay. There we go. Okay, now we have a really simple sub kick, right? I'm going to actually make a new layer with it and just group this together. I like to just grab a short like trance kick sometimes just to get it sounding a little bit more punchy, but this is just for testing. Oh wait, these ones are weird. Anyways, let me just do like this. This is sort of my kick tester. If it works, then it's gonna work in the end. I know it's very weird, but I am completely self-taught, so... Well, not completely, but for the most part. Now, I usually do 3 or 4 layers of the sub kick, and then I'm all gonna sort of compress it together in the end, so you get a nice, really fat kick. So we're just going to look for something with some punch on it. Usually hip hop kicks work, but I'm just gonna use these hard techno pack. Also, I have no idea how you're gonna create this as a starter. These kicks are pretty advanced and you need a lot of knowledge and stuff how to make them, so it's not very beginner friendly, this sort of kick, if you want to make them. I'm just showing you how I do it. And yeah, I don't know, sorry about that. I might be able to make a beginner friendly one, but I'm gonna have to figure out a way how to do that. Okay, now this is all sounding shit. That's exactly what we want. You want your low end sounding shit, but we can fix that in a bit. Don't worry about that just yet. We want this to have punch, because this is going to be our sub punch. So we're going to set this to 10 if I can actually hit it. But we don't want it too much. You can easily check with a limiter. I like to check it how bad this spikes is. So the spike is pretty bad already. So we're just going to turn up the threshold, turn down the makeup until you have this clean spikes looking. Yeah. Like Minecraft ice spikes. Now we're just gonna tweak our rumble and our main kick, because we want our main kick to be the most powerful, of course. We're gonna close this for now. We're just gonna set this off. Okay, now we have our really simple sub kick. As you can hear, it's pretty slapping. Now we're gonna work on the second layer, the mid layer. So we're gonna find a kick that already has some nice mid sounding, that are kind of punchy but not too bad punchy. I recommend using like a hip hop kick for this, just to get it sounding. I don't know why, but hip hop kicks usually have like really weird feelings to them and some nice mid. So this is a really bad kick, but don't worry about that. We just want like this part. So we're just gonna make a simple band pass. We're only interested in having like between 150 Hertz and 1000 Hertz. Yeah, something like that. Again, we're gonna throw on reverb because we want this mid part to have width, but not too much. So just gonna EQ it out so you have sort of this weird mid space. Perfect, like that. Now I'm gonna add a drum bus. And we're going to use a little bit of boom, and we're gonna set that to maximum. What we're after is the transient. Again, we're going to check the limiter. As you can see, we're having very high spikes now, but so we're gonna try and figure out what the spike is. Okay, so this is definitely adding to it. We want to avoid those weird high spikes. Yes, I think it can be the transient as well. You can have it high, but just not too high. Don't worry about it like massively doing this. Don't worry about that just yet. We're all gonna fix that later. Okay, first we're going to bind the sub kick. So I'm gonna use Devastator 2, which is a must-have for creating these kicks. I find you can use complex layering, this one or this one, and sometimes which one was it? This one as well, but I just like complex layering because you can really get those really nice subs. Right, okay. Now for a second layer. Oh yeah, don't worry about that. We're gonna fix that later as well because it the tail on this kick needs to be, wait, what? Where's the tail? This one. You are gonna make this very much shorter because it's going to boost up all the frequencies of that. So you definitely don't want that too loud. Yeah, that's better already. You can also create really cool riser effects like this. Yeah. Okay, now we're gonna nasty the sub bass channel. What I mean with that is I have no clue, but usually I actually do. Kidding. If you put a pedal, usually I would use an actual like Decapitator or yeah, or something like that. But a pedal will probably work. This is not our kick yet, but we're getting there. So I want to focus on our mids and part of our treble. You can play around with these modes because yeah, it depends what you're going for. Fuzz can really get that sort of Decapitator B. Overdrive is sort of the A and this is sort of the S model. I like these models the best. You can also, what I like to use, I know everybody's talking shit about it, but it's a really good distortion unit. I highly recommend getting it. Make sure you put it on NSFW. Actually, just for moments, let's put it on Banana. I'm gonna show you what NANI can do. I'm actually not sure. Oh, it doesn't show it. Whoopsie whoopsie, hold up. Before I mess around too much, okay, this is a... I was scared that was gonna happen, so we're gonna add a display capture. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm very bad at recording things. This is by no means like a professional video. Let's see if you can... Yeah, it's showing it. Okay, good. You can use the blue mode, I don't know what they're calling it, but it has some really nice distortion, as you can hear. But for now we just want this one. We're just gonna turn the mode from this and turn it just a little bit up until you're starting to hear that crunch just a little bit. And just turn down the high again. We don't want any highs in this. Yeah, I think this is a pretty good kick we're having already. I'm just gonna leave this here because it has a little bit of the low end punch and also in the mid, so it's gonna blend our kicks really nicely together. Now I'm gonna create a new MIDI channel. Oh, actually, I'm having to get another kick in. You're gonna layer a lot. There's no real way around that for making kicks like these. Okay, this one seems to have a nice little punch just above like 1000 hertz from what I'm hearing. I'm not by no means a fucking audio expert, but my ears are just picking up. This one has a really nice... Yeah, just a little bit. So this is gonna be our transient. Just want this to be a little bit more obvious. Kind of wanna where you hear it and where you don't hear it, and then it's perfect. Okay, so now for our primary way, we can do this in a lot of different ways. The first way is to create a sort of thunder sound where you get a sound in, and that is to use another Devastator on your kick group. So we're actually gonna name this kick group just for some ease, and this is gonna be high layer. You can also do this in the drum rack, but just for showing it's easier to do it like this, and also it's easier to manage this so you don't get lost in your sub kick. So we're gonna add a thing, Devastator here. We're going to select complex layering again. We're just gonna set this to neutral. So you're getting this really fat kick, but don't worry about that just yet. We're going to fix that just in a second. I want to use a pretty basic kick for this. I'm going to use a gapper kick. I like to use the slower ones because you get a little bit more space. You want the ones that sound really clear in the high end, so we're gonna first get a reg like this, then we're going to insert our kick loop and cut it. So we're gonna layer this over. As you can hear, it sounds really bad right now, and that's okay. What you're going to do now is depress the signal around 100 and get it around 375, something like that. Now to open our Devastator. Oh, it is already open. Let's use paragraph 1. Blend this in just a little bit. Perfect, like that. Now there we go. You really don't want to hear this kick. It will be important later though. Next we're going to find a kick to layer it with. So we're gonna want something that sounds fat but not completely eating everything. Let's look in the industrial packs. They usually have some really cool bass drum. You want to stay away. These kicks sound great, but you hear the distortion up top, and when making kicks like these, it's going to sound very, very bad. There's actually a good example of what not to use, because if you use those, you get a really weird crunching sound in the top, and it's going to sound very, very bad. But a lot of this is just layering shit on top of shit and getting a kick. I'm gonna look for a sort of cleanish kick, I think, for on top. This sounds okay. Going to. Oh, we want all of these only on our other kick, not on this. So don't worry about the bass, this is gonna be layered. I'm gonna use an RC20 retro color as our first type of distortion. Just turn everything off. I only use the distortion of this. Actually, we can use the EQ as well, probably. So you want to EQ it around 250, 300, something like that. Don't do that. No reverb on this channel. Maybe later. I'm just creating this on the go, by the way. There's no... I know what to do, but just it's different every time you do it. So as you can hear, we have a distortion transient and our primary kick. Now we're going to distort our primary kick. I'm going to use 3 types of distortion. Just use any distortion plugin you have, basically, but variate it. So we're going to use first a NANI. Let's get Mr. Banana back. I don't know if you can make it start with Mr. Banana. I don't do this for anime titties. I just do this because it's a good distortion plugin. And with this, we can literally just shape our kick how we want it. And if we layer it with I usually just play around with this for ages till I get a good result. There we go. You see it's clipping like fuck, but that's how you get the nasty sound in. Yeah, that's what we want. Now we're gonna do is the illegal. Make sure you get a lot of color. As you can clearly hear, it's already sounding a lot nastier than before. That's about what we want, right? Now we want the highs to just pop out a little bit more, because the highs are in there, but you can't clearly hear them. As you can see, it's kind of bruh. So what we're going to do is make a very wide Q and actually pull this down, but increase this. Well, maybe not this much. Also, this EQ, get it. There's no way around this. So two pretty basic Q lines, right? Now I feel like preamping this kick, just gonna make it sound as nasty as possible. But what you pretty much want to do is get very clean kicks and just distort the shit out of it. Also, what a really cool way is, I made my own rec to create these sort of kicks very, very fast, but they work in a little bit other way. So what you want to do is, I'm gonna make this public and I'm gonna put it in the description of this video with a nice Dropbox link or whatever. So you want to get a really clean sounding kick, right? Like this. Just EQ everything above like 250, let's say, something like that. We're gonna turn this down. This way it takes a lot more time to perfect like this. You can make this in 5 minutes. It takes me 2 days usually to make a very good sounding one. I tweak all of those effects for ages till I'm happy with it. Instead, I just have this rec. Oh, you can create very fat, and I've created too much shit. I might make these all public if there's a need for it, but so far I don't think anybody really gives a shit. Okay, again, a lot of the effects that we used earlier. Okay, I hope I don't get banned for that. LFO tool, Decapitator, more LFO tool, Devastator, and another Decapitator. And you get a kick that sounds like this. And I think we're all after this sort of kick sound. You have to beefing it up just a little bit because it sounds kind of plain like this, but it's quite easy to do with just a regular EQ. As you can see, this is pretty flat sounding, so that's what's the point of it is actually. I think I have my volume just too low. There we go. Yeah, but it's pretty much how you get a kick like this. You can play around with the EQ, with how much thunder sound you want to get in there. Other kick. There you go. That's a hard techno kick, right? And that was my little shitty tutorial. I think like 95% of the people are going to go for my yeah, for my kick. That's 100% sure. But I'm gonna make this rack public. It's so fucking easy. I'm sorry that you have to use plugins, but these kicks are complicated as fuck. This makes it look very easy, just a Decapitator, a NANI, and then just another Devastator. The fucking Devastator is going to be your friend in this. I swear to God. Without Devastator and Q3, you cannot do these kicks. I'm sorry. You can use other alternatives for NANI and Decapitator. I'm sure of it, but I swear to God, get Devastator from D16 group. You have to get it. It's the best for doing this. I came across it completely on accident, but it's perfect. Anyways, thank you for watching my video. I hope you learned something on how to create these sort of kicks. Actually, just for reference, you might think this method, what the fuck, this sounds shit. This maybe wasn't my best take on one for sure, but I'm gonna show you a kick, how it's supposed to sound after about 2 days of tweaking. I'm actually, before I end the video, I'm just gonna run you through how I did this kick. It's pretty much the same as this, uh, just it's more complicated and it took me 2 days to perfect. I've not found out how to show this very quickly and easy because it's not quick nor easy to do these kicks. It takes a lot of dedication, headaches, and loss of hearing. Okay, so again, 3 kick layers, 2 top layers, and then just a higher layer. So here we have our fat kick. This one sounds a lot cleaner, as you can hear. So we have our first rumble kick. Let's see what the effects on this are. So again, pretty similar as before, just a little bit more complicated. Second kick, our stupid rumble. I like to call it. It's a rumble, but it's just very slightly, and it just makes a little bit of a difference in the mix. Without it, it just sounds a little bit more flat. It adds a little bit of stereo image because I'm using mid sides on here. You know, you don't want stereo lows, but I don't give a shit. Shut the fuck up. My mastering engineer will do that for me. And here we have our sort of industrial sounding, yeah, kick that we layer on top. So here are transients slash mids. And now we're just gonna move on to the second layer, our main kick. Is gonna sound really stupid because we have a we don't? Huh? Okay, we probably have multiple Devastators on here. But again, I'm using the hard techno kick for the second one just to get it sounding like that. And if you layer those two on top, you get this. Oh yeah, and I use the clap. This one is work in progress still. I'm gonna do a lot more shit to this, but this is pretty much the easiest way. I'm also gonna link a unreleased song in the comments of when it's fully finished. Yeah. Okay, thank you for watching my stupid tutorial, and I hope you learned something. See you later, alligator. Holy shit, it's already 30 minutes long. Jesus Christ.